smell what the Rock is cooking. In my head, they count to me, they understand, they talk to me. You got your rules and your religion, all designed to keep you safe. But when rules start getting broken, you start questioning your faith. I have a voice that is my savior, hates to love and loves to hate. I have a voice that has the knowledge and the power to your fate. I hear voices crying, I see heroes dying.
To borrow from the new day, it's a new year, yes it is. Which means that we shall take a slight break from our usual types, so on the WWE Wrestling Talk. So Lisa Rock Jones and
Sean Randy Smith
will bring
a review of 2018 in terms of WWE.
Yes, we shall go through the highlights, lows and high of 2018, and there was a mixture of both in the WWE. Talking about the big stops, the big matches, the not so good matches, the releases, and more sadly, the deaths experienced in the wrestling business in 2018.
So we will start with January of 2018.
January in the WWE means one thing: the Royal Rumble, which we shall bring at you in a couple of weeks for 2019, but going back to last year.
Royal Rumble was coming at you from the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And the 2018 one was significant, if for a couple of reasons.
What?
Firstly, it was down to the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match being introduced.
Yeah.
And as if that wasn't historic enough, following that match, Ronda Rousey made her debut appearance for the company.
Yeah, it was a massive signing for the WWE because Ronda Rousey just transitioned from MMA to WWE.
And she took to it like a duck to water.
Exactly.
Now the winners of the Royal Rumble matches, which we shall get to when we talk about WrestleMania, were Shinsuke Nakamura for the men, back when he was a face.
Yeah.
And for the women, it was the Empress of Tomorrow, so we say the Empress of December, Asuka.
Yeah. So, and she made history by being the first ever Women's Royal Rumble winner.
Which means that they both earned championship matches at WrestleMania. Shinsuke Nakamura wasted little time by telling everyone that he was going to go after AJ Styles.
While Asuka announced that she was going after the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Which at the time was being held by Charlotte Flair. Now, going on from the Royal Rumble, as we moved through to February, we got the Elimination Chamber,
which came at you from the T-Mobile Arena in Paradise, Nevada.
Which, of course, means the Elimination Chamber, and what was the first women's Elimination Chamber match.
And also at this pay-per-view, the Elimination Chamber was remodeled.
Yes, it's rather than the big circle, they had a square around the ring. Alexa Bliss would defend the Women's Championship against Sasha Banks, Bayley, Mickie James, Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose, all successfully. And in the men's one, since AJ Styles' opponent for WrestleMania had already been determined, it was time to decide who would go on to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, that man being Roman Reigns. And we still talk more about him later on.
Yes. Going into March, which was Fastlane for the Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio.
Fastlane was a bit of a throwaway pay-per-view. Nothing really major happened there, except Randy Orton was able to pick up the one championship which had eluded him in WWE and making him a Grand Slam champion when he defeated the glorious Bobby Roode to become United States champion.
Yeah, and I'm now a Grand Slam winner. That was definitely a highlight of 2018 for me.
Too bad it only lasted a few weeks.
Yes.
And then that will send us to the big one. The one they all been waiting for.
WrestleMania 34.
WrestleMania coming at us once again from the Silverdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. The Superdome.
There you go. Not an infamous Hulk Hogan line there.
Who?
Who?
But anyway, we shall go through this because there was a lot of matches here. Starting, of course, with Seth Rollins picking up the Intercontinental Championship, which was a good start for him.
Yeah.
Then Charlotte would end the long streak of Asuka.
Which was over 2,000 or 5,000 days.
Whilst people assumed that winning the first ever Royal Rumble match would mean that she would be a shoo-in to win the championship at WrestleMania.
We then had a fatal four-way match for the United States title.
In which Jinder Mahal would once again end a championship run of Randy Orton's, only for his run to end a week later at the hands of Jeff Hardy.
And then comes one of the matches that we never thought we'd see in a form of a mixed tag match.
Yes, Ronda Rousey, after making her debut appearance at the Royal Rumble, would target Stephanie McMahon. Then Triple H would get involved by going after Raw General Manager at the time, Kurt Angle. They would collide in a mixed tag team match. The only thing which really could have made this match slightly better, which is as if it was done in the match which was probably the preferred match for Rock and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, because it was kind of set up that way a few years previous.
True.
However,
the talking point of the event was the appearance of Mr. Cena at WrestleMania.
Yes, John Cena had done everything he could from the Royal Rumble match to trying to win the WWE Championship at Fastlane, to coming out week after week after week to challenge The Undertaker to a match at WrestleMania.
But it all came down to WrestleMania itself.
John Cena was in the crowd. A referee came out. It looked like he had been told The Undertaker had appeared. So he runs to the back. A little while later, he's in the ring. And he's waiting for The Undertaker. The referee comes out and it looks like says that Undertaker's not there. We then get the lights go out, not for The Undertaker, but for the man who says WWE stands for...
Walk with Elias.
Elias gets his ass kicked.
As he was a heel at the time.
John Cena then makes his way to the back, only for the lights to go off again. Then a spotlight in the ring for some jacket and hat. Thunder hits them, they disappear, and the gong of death, as I like to call it, goes off. The Undertaker comes down to the ring, and I don't think John Cena hit one offensive move.
Because I think he was too shocked to even do anything.
However, going on from that was the feel-good story of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because on the 20th of March, I believe it was, after having a 2-year absence from the ring and being forced to retire due to injury, the leader of the Yes Movement, Daniel Bryan, was cleared to return to in-ring competition.
Which was absolutely amazing, but unfortunately he ran to a roadblock by the name of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Yes, they were to not take the news too well. And after attacking Shane McMahon, who they'd had problems with earlier in 2017, they decided to attack Daniel Bryan, which led to a tag team match at WrestleMania.
With a stipulation in place
that if Owens and Zayn won, they would be rehired to SmackDown. If they lost, then they were screwed.
And Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were screwed. And let's be honest, Daniel Bryan has not lost any prowess of his in-ring prowess during that match.
Now, the big thing here was the fact that they on the episode of Raw afterwards, I believe Kurt Angle said something along the lines of, "Sorry, my tag team division is full, but I believe TNA are hiring."
Yes, and everybody in the crowd, night after Raw after Mania, went, "Oh!" And I believe that's the first time that WWE have even acknowledged TNA in their company history.
Nia Jax would defeat former best friend and turned bitter rival Alexa Bliss. And then it was on to the WWE Championship match. Quite possibly one of the matches of the night. AJ Styles will go one-on-one against Shinsuke Nakamura.
Right.
And after the dust had settled and AJ Styles had retained the WWE Championship, and there was a show of respect in the ring. Since Shinsuke Nakamura would hand the WWE Championship to AJ Styles before nailing him with a sun doesn't shine.
was shocked. Even the commentators were shocked.
But then came quite possibly the funniest match I've ever seen.
Yes, same here, where Braun Strowman had to find a partner, and he ended up picking a 10-year-old kid to be his tag team partner against the Bar for the Raw Tag Team title.
Now, it should be worth noting that this kid was a plant and was chosen because he was the son of one of the referees. But still, Braun Strowman and Nicholas became the tag team champions.
And on record, Nicholas is the youngest ever champion in the WWE.
And then we go to the Universal Championship. Now, going into this, I'm pretty sure every single person had put it in their minds that Roman Reigns was going to walk out as Universal Champion. And people's fears proved to be right, or felt to be right, when Roman Reigns kicked out of not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but six, was it? F5s.
Right. That many.
And then we went to, I think Roman Reigns went for the spear after spearing him several times. Was caught in one final F5, and Brock Lesnar walked out as Universal Champion.
And let's just say Raw after Mania was even more nuts.
However,
now we're going to go to a pay-per-view that in April was brand new.
However, before we go to that, we are going to reverse back to January for a second.
Rewind.
Because January did lead a bit of some controversy when the then WWE Cruiserweight Champion Enzo Amore found himself in trouble after suffering from amnesia, but that wasn't the reason. He found himself in trouble because he was facing some sexual assault allegations, which he did not tell anybody about, and quite frankly, WWE cannot afford to be associated with that. So Vince McMahon basically went, "We can't be dealing with this, Enzo Amore. You're fired."
Pretty much, and that was the end of Enzo Amore's time in the WWE. But we'll get more on
that was the end of Enzo for about 10 months.
Yes, we'll talk more about Enzo later on.
Now, after WrestleMania, WWE played a trip to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the greatest tightest strip below,
which came at you from the King Abdullah International Stadium in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
Now, this was basically a glorified house show.
Pretty much, but this will also be known as Titus World Group.
Yes, because whilst entering the greatest Royal Rumble match, which we saw a few matches, The Undertaker giving a beating to Rusev Day. Brock Lesnar once again beat Roman Reigns. But the greatest Royal Rumble, 50 superstars, not 30, not 40, but 50 would compete to see who was the greatest wrestler there.
But would also receive a green belt and a massive trophy.
Big deal.
Yeah.
But Titus O'Neil would enter the Royal Rumble at number 39 and give us what was perhaps the greatest spot in WrestleMania in Royal Rumble history. Instead of sliding into the ring when he got down to the inside area, he slips and slides underneath the ring. Now, whilst it turned out to be funny, it could very easily have not gone down very well because underneath that ring there's a whole lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, very much so.
But the eventual winner of this match was Braun Strowman.
And that green belt was never to be seen again.
Now, we shall mention quickly that the WWE made another appearance to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in October for Crown Jewel, in which we saw the return of the immortal Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, we'll get on to that later on.
And the best in the world was decided, and that was Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
But a few of them for high enough, and nothing really happened highlight-wise until Extreme Rules, which saw the reunion of Team Hell No, since Daniel Bryan, actually, Money in the Bank, so reverse back to Money in the Bank, after 2 executive losses to Daniel Bryan, Enzo's former tag team partner Big Cass was also given the boot from WWE.
Right.
And has at least stayed active on the independent circuit. But going back to Extreme Rules, Daniel Bryan would found himself feuding with the tag team champions of SmackDown, the Bludgeon Brothers, when an old friend would make a return.
Yeah.
The mayor of Knox County, Glenn Jacobs, also known as the Big Red Machine Kane.
And let's just say things got really, really crazy.
Yes, they were challenged for the tag team championships, unfortunately unsuccessfully.
Where?
However, there were a few other side notes. For example, the night after WrestleMania, which we forgot to mention, Carmella cashed in the Women's Money in the Bank to become Women's Champion on SmackDown. I would defeat Asuka several times and Charlotte several times. Ronda Rousey had one heck of a match at Money in the Bank with Raw Women's Champion Nia Jax, only to lose to Big Cass and Alexa Bliss would once again pick up the title.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins brought back the Intercontinental Championship Open Challenge, and after a classic match with Elias at Money in the Bank would fall victim to Dolph Ziggler with a little bit of help from Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
His feud would then bring back a little psychopath called, or should I say lunatic called Dean Ambrose.
Hinting at a possible other team reunion. We'll get on to that later on.
As we went into the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam,
which came at you from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York.
For the fourth year in a row, and final.
Mm-hmm.
Roman Reigns was once again on the course to face Brock Lesnar for the WWE Universal Championship. Shinsuke Nakamura was on the course to face Jeff Hardy after low blowing Hardy and beating him in 6 seconds at Extreme Rules.
Only for me to then return and low blow Jeff Hardy in the area where the sun don't shine.
Charlotte would earn her way into a triple threat match for the SmackDown Women's Championship and defeat Carmella for the championship, only for Becky Lynch to go a bit crazy and lose it.
Pretty much, cementing her turn.
We would see The Miz go on face to face with former protege Daniel Bryan. The Demon, Finn Balor, would kick the ass out of Baron Corbin.
Correct.
Like we said, Dean Ambrose would come back and help Seth Rollins to regain the Intercontinental Championship. However, after winning Money in the Bank, Braun Strowman would come out and say that he was going to cash in on the winner of Reigns versus Lesnar.
Only for Mr. Lesnar to go,
Yes, Lesnar basically decided, that ain't happening. Got rid of the case, grabbed a steel chair, got into the ring, ate a spear, and kissed goodbye to the Universal Championship. Now, unfortunately, that would not last, because in October, after getting involved in the Hell in a Cell match between Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman, who had aligned himself with Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre out of the blue, and then that would lead to the reunion of The Shield, which didn't. Yes. Also at SummerSlam, Ronda Rousey would kick the crap out of Alexa Bliss to become champion.
Yep, where Ronda Rousey became the Raw Women's Champion.
But the Hell in a Cell, or should we call it Red in a Cell,
came out from the AT&T Center in San Antonio, Texas.
Lesnar came down at the end of the match to rip the door off and take the Universal Championship match to a non-finish, which makes no sense to a Hell in a Cell match. I mean, it's anything goes.
Yes, WWE, are you listening?
But after this, at Crown Jewel, or was it Super Showdown? It was one or the other.
Super Showdown was up next, and that came out from the Melbourne Cricket Ground in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia.
We saw Triple H take on The Undertaker one more time. Daniel Bryan once again took on The Miz successfully. Yeah. The Dogs of War, Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre would lose a 6-man tag team match to The Shield.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey and the Bella Twins would defeat the Riot Squad.
Buddy Murphy would win the Cruiserweight Championship on home soil against Cedric Alexander.
Also on home soil, the Iconics would defeat Asuka and Naomi. And Bobby Lashley would team with John Cena to defeat Kevin Owens and Elias.
Next pay-per-view was kind of a very special feel to it, because it was the first ever women's pay-per-view called Evolution. It came out from the Netto Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Uniondale, New York.
Yes, but before we do this, we should bring you some bad news. After finally dethroning Brock Lesnar as Universal Champion. Roman Reigns was forced to vacate the championship due to facing leukemia in real life.
Yeah, he cut a promo in the middle of the ring by saying his actual real name to the WWE Universe and relinquished the Universal Championship right in the middle of the ring.
Now, on the same night, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose would defeat Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler to become Raw Tag Team Champions, only for Dean Ambrose to go heel and attack Seth Rollins all over the place. Now, whilst I don't have a problem with Dean Ambrose going heel, I mean, we kind of slowly saw the build-up to it. Why on that night?
Yeah, as Michael Cole once said, why tonight? Why tonight of all nights?
Then we had a problem because at Crown Jewel, which would take place a few weeks after Evolution, it was supposed to be Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar. That turned into a one-on-one match, but we'll shall slowly get onto that in a couple of moments.
Yeah.
In the All-Women's pay-per-view Evolution, Trish Stratus and Lita teamed up to take on Mickie James and Alicia Fox. However, they were supposed to be Trish Stratus versus Alexa Bliss one-on-one. Alexa Bliss seems to be coping with a few injury problems as well.
Yeah, she was suffering from, I think, an arm injury at the time, or concussion, from what I can remember.
Nia Jax would win a battle royal to determine who would get a women's championship match. Toni Storm would defeat Ira Shane in the final of the Mae Young Classic.
Become the 2018 Mae Young Classic winner.
Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya would defeat the Riot Squad.
They would.
Shayna Baszler would defeat Kylie Shane to win back the NXT Women's Championship, which she had lost at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn.
Yeah.
After losing the SmackDown Women's Championship to Charlotte at Hell in a Cell, Charlotte would face Becky in a last woman standing match.
And what was a very brutal affair.
And after turning heel on Ronda Rousey, big mistake I may add, Nikki Bella would unsuccessfully attempt to take the championship from her.
Yes, so for now, in the month of November, we're going to a very controversial pay-per-view.
We're not going to spend too much time on this, but we'll go. Crown Jewel was basically a World Cup of WWE, in which they were supposed to decide who was the best in the world.
But that honour, unfortunately, went to Shane McMahon.
Yes, because Hulk Hogan came out to the ring, which I find it very classic that he would come out to the ring and be the host in a foreign country.
Yeah, it's just controversial in its own right.
And Rey Mysterio defeated Randy Orton in round 1. The Miz defeated Jeff Hardy in round 1. Seth Rollins would defeat Bobby Lashley. Dolph Ziggler would defeat Kurt Angle. The Bar would defeat the New Day in a Tag Team Championship match, but that's the only affair. The Miz Attack would defeat Rey Mysterio, who was weakened after Randy Orton went a bit cuckoo on his ass as a Venus sore loser.
Yeah.
And Dolph Ziggler defeated Seth Rollins.
And
AJ Styles would defeat Samoa Joe in a WWE Championship match, extending his run to almost a year with the championship,
correct.
which we shall get to soon as well. Now, the Universal Championship match. The then acting general manager Baron Corbin decided it would be a very good idea, which, by the way, it's not and it wasn't,
We'll get on to later.
to nail Braun Strowman in the back with the championship, causing Lesnar to hit 2 F5s, but Strowman kicked out of both. Then he hit an F5 out of the ring. Braun Strowman got back in the ring, hit the boot, was caught in another F5. 1, 2, 3. Brock Lesnar is once again Universal Champion. Hopefully it won't last a year and a half like the other one did.
Hopefully not. So, the next pay-per-view we're going to move on to.
Wait, but we said that Shane McMahon defeated Dolph Ziggler in the finals of the World Cup because of what happened. Supposedly, The Miz was injured, but then we said at Super Showdown that Triple H took on The Undertaker. After losing to some outside interference shot by Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker would turn heel, or heelish, with his brother Kane, and we would see the Brothers of Destruction go one-on-one with DX. After 8 years, Shawn Michaels is out of retirement.
Yeah, and it was a very brutal affair, but in the end, the D-Generation X ended up winning the match.
Yes, but Triple H regains it in the meantime.
Yes, which Triple H has a long history of injury.
Next we go on to Survivor Series, or should we call it?
Yes, which came out from the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. Now, the reason why we're calling it this is because a certain now ex-WWE wrestler tried to hijack the show.
Yes, Enzo Amore somehow decided it would be a very smart move to appear at this show. Von.
Not a good idea, Enzo, because you got yourself and wanted attention, and you ended up getting thrown out of the building.
But Survivor Series is also known as SmackDown vs. Raw. This was dominated by Raw this year. Team SmackDown would only win the tag team elimination match on the pre-show, but with the women's tag team, Team Raw won. In the Intercontinental vs. United States Champion, Team Raw won. In the Tag Team Champions versus the Tag Team Champions, Raw won. In the Men's Survivor Series match, Raw won. In the Women's Championship match, or what was supposed to be the Women's Championship match, until Nia Jax decided it would be a very good idea to punch Becky Lynch in the face,
causing Becky Lynch to be noses to be busted open and causing her to suffer a concussion.
Ronda Rousey would win when Charlotte decided to get herself disqualified and kick Ronda Rousey's ass all over the place. Then we get to the World Championship match and things change. This match was originally built as Brock Lesnar vs AJ Styles 2 because they'd gone at each other last year. However, a few days, if not a week slowly, before Survivor Series, there was a WWE Championship match
between AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan.
And as the referee got knocked down towards the end of this match, Daniel Bryan took a leaf out of Shinsuke Nakamura's book, nailed AJ Styles with a low blow, hit the running knee, and got the 1, 2, 3, and would win the WWE Championship for the 4th time. And end the year-long run of AJ Styles, and on top of that, turn heel in the process, ending the Yes Movement.
And Daniel Bryan said on one SmackDown, the Yes Movement is officially dead.
So Brock Lesnar would go on to face Daniel Bryan, and it was a relatively good match. Ended by Brock Lesnar being champion.
And then the final pay-per-view of 2018 was Tables, Ladders and Chairs, which came at you from the CAT Center in San Jose, California.
The Fabulous Truth team of Carmella and R-Truth would win the Mixed Match Challenge, which means they will enter their respective Royal Rumble matches in a couple of weeks in number 30.
Correct.
After the events of Crown Jewel, Braun Strowman would kick Baron Corbin's ass, which would give Braun Strowman a Universal Championship match at the Royal Rumble, and would strip.
Thanks for some help from Kurt Angle.
Yes, for help from friends. Yes, but this would give Strowman a Universal Championship match at the Royal Rumble and strip Corbin of all power.
Correct.
We shall not get into the Natalya Becky Lynch thing yet. But the Dean Ambrose, after turning on Seth Rollins, would defeat Seth Rollins for his third Intercontinental Championship. And Asuka would end the year as she began it by winning a match, except this time she would win the SmackDown Women's Championship from Becky Lynch in the first ever Women's TLC match.
And also after that pay-per-view, the McMahon took charge of both Raw and SmackDown.
Yes, now, unfortunately, just before we leave you, we have to pause and give you and give the sad part of the year a mention, as every year we have some deaths, and this year has brought some humdinners.
We'll start with our first wrestler of 2018, which was...
The saddest one was Brian Christopher, known as Grandmaster Sexay and the son of Jerry the King Lawler.
He was found dead at the age of 46 after being arrested in police custody.
Then we also have Nikolai Volkov,
who died at the age of 70.
Next we have Vader,
who died at the age of 63 after being ill for quite a long while.
Next we have the man who sold out Madison Square Garden for countless years, held the WWE Championship for
1,200 odd days.
He held the WWE Championship for the better part of 4 years. Bruno Sammartino,
who sadly died at the age of 82.
And the more recent one, and that took centre stage in a recent rivalry, with the father of Natalya, Jim the Anvil Neidhart,
who was found dead at the age of 63 after falling and sustained injuries.
So those were the events of 2018 in the WWE. As 2019 begins, we shall do this all over again. We may come at you possibly for a special show between now and the Royal Rumble, but if we don't, he's been
Sean Mandy Smith, and he's been
Lisa Rock Jones. Join us for the Royal Rumble.
See you then.